iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro. Hey YouTube, today let's talk about the Apple events that's going to hold on September 9th next week, and let's see the cool animation from Apple. What do you think of the animation? It's actually an Apple logo with a blue light and red light. Look at the transition. Today I want to start not from iPhone, but actually starting it from software. I recently write a lot of code about Swift and SwiftUI, and let's take a look at some code release, the WWDC APIs, and these software libraries is going to lay the fundamentals for how iPhone 16 is going to be. First, let's take a look at the Apple's glowing transition. You go to their Apple event, WWDC 2024, they actually implement the transition layers in SwiftUI. So now you can write linear transitions, radial, angular transitions in Swift. And you can have a lot of control. So your iPhone can have beautiful transitions like these. Control the transitions by using these control points, which is pretty awesome. It didn't show it to you in the main event, but in WWDC, if you take a look, the developer first take it and then it's going to be on the iPhone. Here, there's a new Vision API, which is pretty awesome. I believe you should check it out because it takes Vision API, it takes different photos, and it uses Apple Silicon, their mobile chip, to use NPUs to do calculations. They blend it in with really good Vision API. And I just write some code about how to understand images. It's pretty amazing. The processing speed is really fast. Writing Swift code, I'm kind of amazed by how Apple designed things from the fundamentals and how things and physics can actually interact with the UI. So let's take a look at the rumors photos of iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro. The first one is that it changed to the straight layout for the camera positions. The reason for this is because Apple is going to support 3D spatial video, even in their non-Pro models. However, I wonder the iPhone 16 will only support the 1080p version. Pro version will support 4K. But if you look at the setup of the camera, these cameras are close together and these ones are more far away. So for designing a spatial video camera, these solutions are not so well. The 3D effects works best when the camera setup is the same length as your eye's length. You probably don't want a phone that with a camera setup like this far. We can only use software to do a calculation to make the spatial video feels not so spatial-ish, not so 3D-ish or stereoscope-ish. Let's take a look at the iPhone 16 rumor about the buttons. The camera I'm currently using now is the iPhone 14 Pro Max. From Android users' perspective, they'll feel like, okay, so the upgrades from iPhone 14 Pro Max to iPhone 15 Pro Max is just adding a new button. And from the 15 to 16, it's adding another button. Apple is just adding one button a year for their phones, which is not a huge upgrade. However, Apple's buttons are different. Why so? When you look at their trackpad, like my MacBook, none of the Windows laptop provides good trackpad. Apple is about 20 years ahead in trackpad technologies. It's actually about the click. When you click at Apple's button, they actually don't move or wiggle too much. That's because they put in a lot of effort in mechanical engineering to study how to make things better. Apple will actually tell you that they redesigned the keyboard so the keyboard isn't so wobblish. So this year, I believe, for iPhone 16 Pro, they actually designed the button to solve some mechanical issues. iPhone 14 and iPhone 15, they actually have like two versions of the phone. The one that supports mmWave technologies for 5G in the US, they actually have to do a cutout for the side. It actually creates a problem that you have to have two versions of iPhone. One is the US version of the iPhone and the other is the international version of the iPhone. It might not seem to be a big deal, but if you buy things at the Apple scale, then it becomes a huge manufacturing problem. So this year, I believe one of the cool things about how Apple engineered this is that they probably sit down and discuss about, okay, we have this production issue. How about let's just make it it, improve the user experience, cut down the cost, just make one version iPhone and we can have a button that work as an antenna and also new features in it. Why is it so important for Apple to add in another button? If you look at things from the future, like 5 years ahead, what are Apple users actually using? They're actually using something that's probably not out. It's probably called like Vision Air or Vision 5, augmented reality, virtual reality device that has a Type-C that connects to your iPhone. So it uses iPhone as a compute unit, Vision as a display. They layer together. What would you do every day using Apple Vision? You take photo, you take videos. And what is your interaction with the world to take photos and videos to take it into the digital world? Or you actually have like a Meta glass. What would you do if you want to take a photo? You say like, hey Meta, take a photo, or hey Meta, take a video. But actually, when you don't want to talk to the assistant, the real interaction is you will click your glasses like this, and you'll click it to take a picture and hold it to take a video. When you want to zoom it, you will probably slide it like this. I believe in Apple's lab, they already doing a lot of vision experiment, and they kind of take that interaction from 5 years ahead back to now that they want the user to learn it today. They decided to integrate it into their iPhone. They want you to learn it today, like using your iPhone 16. So it will be like this. You're taking a photos like one click and then holding it and probably slide it for zooming. And imagine if this is the vision and it's on your face. It's like that. But the interaction is just the same. So let's take a look at this image. What you can see is that this is the traditional power button, and then it adds in the new button. They are kind of symmetrical. What can you use it with these two buttons on the iPhone? Just a power button. Maybe Apple can design a game mode so that these buttons can work as a controller to use it as a button like this. In game mode, these two buttons as an extra button that you can play games doing like this, left click and then right click. That would be a good idea. When I look at these photos, like they're symmetrical, which makes me believe that it would be such an awesome idea if I can play games with these two buttons. I don't need to bring the controller everywhere when I want to play the game. In this slide, it actually shows all 5 kinds of new iPhone 16 color and the new camera layout. How do you identify if this slide is true or not? One of the key detail for me as a SwiftUI designer, you can see that the tab bar. Apple never introduced it before. They introduced these kind of tab bar in WWDC 2024. And you can even see that on Apple's website, Apple website video. The new iOS 18
optionally be displayed when the sidebar is hidden.
Apple is actually pushing the dynamic tab bar. It can be on the top of content or on the left side of the content. Why is Apple actually doing that? Making you more familiar with their Vision OS UI interaction. Putting tab bars on top of it, get used to it. It's rounded corners. 2 years to 5 years, you'll probably buy a Vision. But Apple wants you to get used to it. They want to bring you from iPad, iPhone user, push you a little bit more into the Vision Pro, Vision 1, Vision 2 later on. So based on this WWDC video, I kind of believe that this rumor is actually true. Based on this slide, even the iPhone 16 has 4800 camera. It doesn't say promotion on the screen. It probably will still be a 60Hz display. And based on some rumors, phone companies, they actually don't produce that much 60Hz OLED display because in Android, like everybody is using 120Hz display. I believe like Apple just probably lock up the frame rate to 60Hz. The iPhone 16 even has an action button, just like the iPhone 15 Pro. They are naming the iPhone 16 to use A18 chip instead, one generation behind the Pro models. Here's another rumor photos. Apple is actually putting iPhone 16 Pro to have really good zooming camera. For ultra wide, it's going to upgrade to 4800 pixels. For zooming, I believe the Pro is going to have 5x zooming, and for iPhone 16 Pro Max, it's going to have 6 times zooming. They are using their NPUs to use AI so they can have like the best computational photography powered by AI. One of the cool things for this slide is not about the iPhone, but one of the details I see in this photo is that it's actually using a Mac. And this Mac actually has a new player over here for Pro models, which is pretty cool. We have on the iPhone. And one of the cool things is about the display size. Pro Max has a 6.9 inch display.
What is 6.9? A good thing ruined by a period.
I I'll talk about why 6.9-inch display for 16 Pro Max, and I'm kind of excited about it, and why Apple needs to make the display bigger, even though it's already pretty big. Here are all the different colors, and they're going to have pink. However, it's not on the Pro models. For Pro models, I believe they're just asking users to buy the white version, and then you're going to buy a case, so you can just make it pink. Instead, they're actually making it the sand gold. I like gold color iPhones. This one, 12 Pro Max, the gold color, I like it. The camera I'm actually using now is the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I buy the purple version just because I kind of want to use a special color so that whenever I display the phone, then you kind of know that which phone is that. The only way to easily identify the iPhone is just their color, or else they kind of look alike, and their camera modules just grow bigger. It's like a gradient. It grows bigger and bigger each year, but it looks about the same. Why iPhone 16 Pro is going to have a bigger display? That is because when you consume the media on your phone, mostly you watch YouTube or TikTok. Compare the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the Samsung S24 Ultra, you can find that this only has a 6.7-inch display, and this has a 6.8-inch display, which is 0.1 inch smaller. And the length, S24 Ultra is actually taller, so you can watch a way bigger YouTube videos. That increase experience. Larger display is the only display on your hand. Bigger display is better if you can control weight in a certain degree. And that's it for today's video. Some of my perspective about iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max. We'll see the Glow Time event. Hopefully I'll have the live event to share with you guys. I kind of want to make videos more easily and more accessible so that I can make more videos and have more interaction with the subscriber or the audience. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. The button.